everybody. So Enscape, it's a plugin. It sits on top of your ribbon. So once you install it in any of the design applications that we support, so SketchUp, ArchiCAD, Rhino, Revit, and Vectorworks, all you have to do is you have to have 3D geometry first to start. So it's not going to render any line work or anything like that. So kind of keep that in the back of your head. It has to be 3D geometry. And then you have inside the Enscape tab, you have the different 3D views that you have inside of your Revit project browser. And all you're going to do is simply hit the little play button up here in the top left. Enscape's going to take everything that was inside the Enscape window that's visible inside the Enscape window, and it's going to push it over inside of the Enscape window, and it's going to drop you right where you started from. So you're going to get this helpful help menu that shows up where you can do things like navigate around. So you're going to navigate around using the WASD key. So you're going to use A to move right, A to move left, S to move back, and W to move forward. You can also use your right mouse click to rotate around any object that you click on and just move your mouse. Basically think your left mouse click is your head. So if I click and hold, I'm going to move my camera left and right. Can do some really nice things right away. If I hold down shift and right mouse click and move my mouse to the right or to the left, I'll be able to interactively change the time of the day here. So this is a great way to show your clients exactly what the space is going to look like at all the different times of the day. So this is really helpful because then you don't have to set up different renderings for different lighting conditions. You can just literally scrub the time of the day to where you want, and Enscape's going to show you instantaneously what it's going to look like at all the different times of the day. If you keep scrolling down farther in this help menu, you're going to see a couple different options that you have to get help. So if you run into any issues or anything like that, we have our knowledge base, which is a great resource for everything Enscape. So each individual feature of Enscape, as far as licensing, system requirements, virtual reality, it's going to have all that information inside of here. And it's broken up by different design applications as well. Some best practices, managing views. Again, all that's going to live with inside of this knowledge base. We also have a link to our forum, which if you guys haven't checked it out yet, it's a very great place, very, very good place to get inspiration. We have a showcase page, tips, tricks, and tutorials, news and FAQ section for all things Enscape. And then it's also broken out by different design application as well. So if you're Revit, SketchUp, Rhino, ArchiCAD, Vectorworks user, you can get application specific questions or knowledge through there. So those are great resources to check out. All right. So now with Enscape, other than it being a real-time window into your model, whatever you're changing inside of Revit, Enscape's going to update for you in real time. And all this stuff I'll show you guys today, it's the same for all the different design applications we support. So when you're doing a design review with a client and they're wanting to change some things, change colors, materials, or anything like that, Enscape's going to show you instantaneously what is going on. So that's where the real power of Enscape comes in. So you're doing a design review with the client, and then you walk in the inside, and the client's like, hey, I want to see a window on this wall. Perfect. We can definitely do that. So we can go to floor plan here, and I'll load in a window. Again, this is the power of Enscape here, being able to visually see what things are going to look like instantaneously here without having to go back and re-render things. You can just do it like you normally would. You don't have to alter your workflow at all. Enscape's going to show you, again, instantly those changes that are being made. So that's where the real power of Enscape comes in, is those real-time changes. It's truly a real-time window into your model. If you have dual monitors set up, you can have Enscape open on one window, Revit open on another window, and keep working that way. I'm just using split screen for presentation purposes so we can see the side by side. Then again, Enscape also works with whatever you're changing. So again, if I'm changing, moving some floors around or anything like that, Enscape's going to show me, instantaneously what those changes are going to be. So that's great. Now what we have is what we call our asset library. So how we have this furniture, different types of trees. We have some people in our scene. So if we go up to our asset library here, up at the top left, it's the icon that looks like a tree. So Enscape ships with over 2,700 different assets for us to choose from. So we can pick any one of these assets that we want. Let's say we want vegetation, or let's choose some people. We'll start placing some people. So if I click on the 3 dots in the bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to get a couple options: place asset on work plane, place asset on surface, or link Revit family to asset. So I'll do this place asset on surface. And now I can pick the surface that I want to place my person on. And again, Enscape's going to show me immediately where I place that asset. So we can see there's our new little person applied to our scene here. The next option that we have when placing assets is, so if you're printing plans, Enscape's assets are going to look like this. So you can see all the triangles, and they don't have BIM information associated with them. So they could be, so you could run into issues when scheduling. So what we have is we also have this feature called linked Revit families to assets. So let's say I go up to furniture here, and I'm going to go down and find a bench. Here's my bench right here. There's, again, the 3 little dots. I'm going to click this link Revit family to asset button. If I scroll down, I'm going to select the Revit family that I want. So let me get over here so you guys can see this. All right, perfect. So again, this is just a generic Revit family. So now what I'm going to do is my Revit model is going to stay the same, looking good, scheduling correctly. It's lightweight as well. But inside of Enscape, it's going to display as the high quality 3D object. So that's where you can keep your BIM model, again, looking good, scheduling correctly, lightweight as well, and your floor plan is looking good as well, and your visualization model displaying the higher quality 3D objects. In 3.2 that came out, we introduced this ability, buttons in my way. In 3.2, we did introduce this new ability to place assets inside of the Enscape window. So if I go to this asset library inside of here, we can start placing assets anywhere in our scene, and they'll start populating inside of Revit. So if I go to, say, the vegetation tab, this is where I can take anything I want. So let's say I want to start placing some of these trees, anywhere in my scene. Then click escape, and then move my menu up. So all I have to do is hit the apply change button. And it's going to take those changes I placed inside of Enscape, and it's going to push those back inside of Revit now. Again, all this I'm showing you is the same exact way for the different design applications. So there we go. There's our new changes. So that was a single asset placement. We also have the ability as well to do multi-asset placement, where we can select a bunch of different assets that we want, and we can scatter them throughout our scene, or we can do it in a rectangular or circular selection. We also have the ability as well to select objects inside of the Enscape window. And if I need to move this or rotate this, I can do that inside of here to further adjust it. And then all I got to do is hit the apply change button. And again, that asset is going to be changed based on what I just changed it inside of the Enscape window here. So that's our asset library button. And now what we have is what we call our material library. So Enscape ships with over 300 different pre-built materials for us to choose from. And how you get a material inside of Revit or SketchUp or anything like that, all you have to do is select the category that you want. And let's say I'm going to use this wood double basket. And notice I have a couple stars. This is where you can favorite different materials as well. So then if you have your favorites, if you toggle your favorite section, you'll see all these materials that I favorited. So all you got to do is click the one that you want, and then you got to do just hit import selection. And now what this is going to do is this is going to import this inside of your design application. So in this case, I'm in Revit. So it's going to create a Revit material out of this for me. So now I'd apply this like I normally would any other material. So let's go inside this floor here. Just navigate here. Okay, so this floor material. So again, I would apply it like I normally would any other Revit material. So let's scroll down here, and we can see here is my new Enscape material. So one thing to note is by default, all Enscape looks for is the appearance tab. So if you have surface patterns set up in your materials and you already have the naming convention how you want, and you don't want to mess with that at all, you just want it to look better, you're going to do this trick right here. So if you go to We have the appearance tab selected. So you're going to go to your document assets button, go to document assets, and then scroll down to your newly imported material. So here's my new basket weave, and all I'm going to do is simply hit this replace appearance tab. And all that's going to do is just replace just the appearance tab. It's not going to mess with my naming convention at all, or if I had surface patterns set up in my model, it's just going to replace just the appearance tab. So then I can click apply, click OK, click OK, click OK. And now you can see the new changes applied to the new Enscape materials applied to your floor. So the next cool option we have in regards to materials and getting our designs ready before we showcase them to our clients is what we call this Enscape material editor. This is a little checkered ball right up here. And all you're going to see is this is all the materials that you have inside of your Revit project. So Enscape's going to display, this Enscape material is going to display all of them over here, all the generic types of materials. And now what we can do with this is a lot easier way to control and manipulate our materials. So let's say I need to change the size of this. Again, we just saw how fast Enscape showed us those new changes. So I can even do things like rotate this if I need to. 45-degree angle. So again, any changes I make inside of here, it's going to show me instantaneously. The really cool part that I like, I work a lot with different material maps inside of my textures. So in Revit, I would have to go change the size for each one of those. Where inside of this material editor, it's going to change the size of them all at once. So I don't have to go and do that for each one. But the best part about this is all the changes I'm making inside of this Enscape material editor, all these changes are going to push back inside of my Revit material. So I don't have to go back and remember, oh, I changed the scale to this. I have to go change that because there's this nice bi-directional link going on now. And vice versa, if I changed anything inside of the Revit material, it would change inside this Enscape material editor for me. Other cool things that we can do with this material editor. So say this white wall here, I don't have any textures applied to it. I just have one generic material applied to that, but it's set up how I want, maybe conventions how I want. I just wanted to display some nice high quality textures. So I can actually load in my own custom textures from inside of here. So I'm loading in the Albedo map. The Albedo map is just the color of the image. I'm going to load in for the height map. I'm going to load in what we call a bump map. It's the black and white map. So whatever's black is going to be recessed. Whatever's white is going to be raised up. And for the reflections tab, I'm going to load in what we call a roughness map. A roughness map is wherever's black is going to be shiny. Wherever's white is going to be diffuse. And again, all these material maps are going to be pushed back inside of my Revit material. A really cool trick that we can do with this to push this a lot farther. So this looks pretty good right here, but we can, again, push this farther. So in the section where we have a height map, we can take the drop down, click bump map, and we can do what we call a displacement map. Now we can see what this is doing. And I can control the recess value of that as well, to really give it a nicer, more realistic look to it. Again, this is all done inside this Enscape material editor. A couple other cool things that we can do with this. So if you're working with an outside scene, or if you have to do a pool or anything that has water, all you have to do is, so we see here on the left-hand side how I have a couple of different icons here. So for water, I have a material in Revit, call it whatever I need to, and then I can go up to this Enscape type up here and tell it to become water. And that's automatically going to start creating the movable water for me, or the animated water for me. Same thing with grass. I just flip the drop down for grass, and I'm going to get volumetric grass. That's automatically going to blow in the wind. I can adjust the height if I need to as well. And then one other cool thing that we can do with this material editor is we can actually load in animated textures. So now if you're working with TVs or video screens or anything like that, all you have to do is go up and in the Albedo map, load in your movie file, your MP4 file that you want to play. Just load it into that Albedo map, and your movie's going to start playing when you're moving around. So it's a lot easier to start adding things inside of the materials and manipulating them and getting a really nice look that we're going for inside of this Enscape material editor.
Hey, Josh, I hate to interrupt, but a quick question. Brian wants to know how the Enscape view is changing to what areas you're working on as you go through the model. That's the synchronized views feature, correct?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
How your Enscape view is changing to the different areas that you're working on in Revit.
So I'm just navigating around inside the Enscape window. I don't have, so that view synchronized that you're talking about, that will be in 3.3, where both views will be synchronized together. So wherever I'm rotating inside of Revit, Enscape view will be synced with it. We could talk about the view management tab here quick. So with the view management tab, let me get the zoom thing. So with the view management tab here, this is where you can flip between the different 3D views that you have already set up in Revit. So this is going to take me to the exterior shot, and then I can go to my exterior view right here. So there's where the two views can be looking the same. And then I can, again, turn the crop view off. So I can see that's where the two views can be the same. But yeah, the camera sync feature, that'll be coming in 3.3.
Thank
Hopefully
you very
that
much.
helps answer that question. All right. So before we get ready to send our designs to our clients, we have what we call our visual settings tab here. So it's the one on the far right that it's got an eye on the top of it. So our visual settings tab is where this is going to control the whole look and feel of the Enscape window here. So everything inside here, again, is going to control this is going to control the Enscape window here. So in our main tab for early stage designs, we have what we call our white mode. So again, where you haven't picked out materials yet with your client, or you just want to do some early design sun studies. So again, if I hold down shift and right mouse click, you can just really focus on the overall structure and see exactly how everything is going to work, how the sun is coming in without the clients getting, married to the designs at all. And then we have an image tab where we have some different image enhancing features like contrast, saturation, just more effects like that. Again, that's all controlling the Enscape window here. We have our atmosphere tab where it's going to control the overall illumination. So like you're going to control the sun brightness, artificial light brightness. If you adjust that, that's great for doing interior shots because you can globally adjust the whole light system. And then our sky tab, this is where we can control the overall Enscape's cloud sun system. So you can control like the density of the clouds, the variety of the clouds as well. You have total control over how you want all that to look. But in this tab, we also have the option to control what's being shown in the horizon. So Enscape ships with a couple different ones by default. So we have a desert, forest, mountains, towns or urban. Or what you could do is you could actually load in your own custom one. So if you use like Google Street Map to get 360 panoramas, or if you go on site with a GoPro or a drone and take those 360 photos, you could actually load those in here. So then you can show your clients exactly what the space is going to look like if they're looking outside their window here. And it's just an HDR file that you can load in. Again, I can rotate this into position here. And a cool trick to add more realism to the model, there's this brightest point of sun direction. So if I click that, that's going to tie Enscape's sun to the brightest point of the background image, which is always going to be the sun. So now when I rotate this image, we can see the shadows and Enscape's sun are going to be updating accordingly. So that's where you can add some nice realism to your model there. And then in our output tab, this is where we have some different settings for the resolution, for our export renders, and for our panoramas. All right. So now we're ready to do a rendering. One button I always like to have checked when I'm doing still renderings is the show save frame button. What this is going to do, this is going to show me where the crop readings are of my final rendering. So without this checked, I don't really have a good idea of what's going to be in my final rendering until I actually render it. So if I have this checked, it's going to show me exactly what's going to be in my final renderings. So then I can make adjustments accordingly. And what's really cool is it's dynamically updating. So if I adjust the output resolution to say a custom size, so if I need a more vertical rendering, those crop regions are going to update for me immediately. So then I can again, adjust my shot accordingly. All right, now I'm ready to do a rendering. Yeah.
Sorry, we got a question about the image tab in that settings window.
Yeah.
So the question is specifically about the saturation. If you alter the saturation, does it alter it only in the one room or for the entire model? And if you wanted different saturations based on where in the model are, could you set that up?
Great question. So if I adjust the saturation, it's going to do it for everything. But if you click inside the visual settings tab, there's a little arrow off to the left of that. You have what we call presets. So this is where you can create a new preset, and then you can associate that to a different view. So inside my view management tab here, how I have, let's say the exterior is completely white. This is because I've told this preset to just only be white mode, but anything that I'm changing inside of this visual setting is going to show me. So this is where I can start linking different presets to different views. So I can have different looks and feels for each view. And how I associate a visual setting to a different view, all I have to do is click the little edit button and then click the link preset for which one I want, and then just click save down on the bottom. And it's going to show me whatever's being changed in that visual setting. So yeah, that's where you could set those different looks and feels that you're looking for. Hopefully that helps answer that question.
I think that does answer the question. Thank you very much.
Sweet. All right, let's go back to rendering my cool little lake house view here. All right, so now I'm ready to do a rendering. All I have to do is hit the take screenshot button, tell it where I want it to save to, and Enscape's going to start rendering for me. So again, I'm doing this all live for you guys so you can see how fast this is going to go. And boom, there it's done. So with Enscape being a real-time rendering engine, pretty much what you're going to see inside the Enscape window is basically what you're going to get for your final rendering, because it's always rendering. So that's why when you're moving around, it's kind of pixelated a little bit, and then you stop for a second, then you see like everything sit for a second, you see the shadows kick on. So that's what you can expect for being how fast it's going to go. We also have the ability as well to do batch rendering. So batch rendering is going to take all the different 3D views that you have, and you can start rendering those one right after another. All right. So that's one way we can get our designs over to our clients, is with these still renderings. The next feature is probably my favorite feature. It's this QR code feature. So if everybody in the audience wouldn't mind taking a sec to scan this QR code with your phones, it should ask you to go to a web link and then allow for immersive mode. What this is going to do, this is going to give you the ability to show your designs to your clients through a mobile 360 panorama. But what you can also do is you can take these QR codes, since they're just images, and you can put these on a set of drawings, or you can even take the link that it's tied to, and you can even hyperlink it to some text in a drawing if you want. So, because a lot of times when we're doing design reviews, clients can't look at a floor plan and think of what the space is going to look like. So this is a really great way to be able to show another addition to show your designs to your clients. Hopefully some people in the audience were able to get this on their phones.
I'm in there.
All right, cool. Pretty cool, huh? Like,
really neat.
Yeah, show these to your clients. And another cool thing too is you can take these panoramas and you can embed these on your company website. So now when clients visit your website, it could be a cool portfolio piece. So how we do that is if you go up to this 360 button, if you click the drop down for mono or stereo, difference is stereo just render it a second time. So you can do Google Cardboard. The one you guys have on your phone is a mono panorama. So you just click the one that you want. It'll start generating that 360 panorama for you. Once it's done, if you go to your Enscape tab and go to your uploads management, this is where it's going to show you the different panoramas that you've taken by different projects. So it's going to filter it out a little bit by there. And it's also going to filter out by different types of panoramas. So that mono or stereo panorama, this is where it'll show you the difference one, or filter out between the different ones. And what you're going to do once it's done, you have to upload that to our cloud storage system, where it'll be housed and generate the link for you just by clicking the little up arrow to upload it to the cloud. Once it's done, you're going to get these three little dots that pull up here. And then this is where you get the option to save the QR code as a JPEG or PNG file. You can also copy the link, again, email that to your client, or you can just even open up in the web browser and you can see exactly what it's going to look like on a computer. So again, for clients having trouble getting it on their phone, you can just send them the link and they'll be able to pull this up on their computer. Now, this is for this particular part in the design process. What happens if you make a change to the model? Which changes are going to happen? With 3.2, we did introduce this new ability. It's called this replace panorama in cloud. So this is where you can actually go back to the exact location on where you took that panorama from. Or let's say right here. So I made some new changes to that panorama. There's a button that pulls up here. This is replace button. You click that, you select the new panorama that you want. You click next, and it's going to tell you, hey, this link is now going to contain this new panorama. So I like to use a Lord of the Ring term. You have one link to rule the whole design project, one link to rule it all. So you could, in the early stages, send the panorama to your client with this link. Hey, here's what it's looking like. Each new iteration, you just use that replace upload feature. Just tell them to refresh the link on their phone, and they'll see the new changes that you just did. So again, very, very powerful feature to be able to keep clients up to date on what's going on throughout the project lifecycle. But this is for one panorama. We have a feature called our Panorama Gallery and Panorama Tour. So if you log into your Enscape account and you go to Uploads, you should see this button that says Create Mono Panorama Gallery. So you're going to be able to create a gallery out of this for you. So instead of just sending one QR code over to your client, you can send multiple different ones all at once to them in like a gallery style. So again, this is just a link that you can email to your clients, and this is exactly what they'll be able to see. They can flip between the different views that you've prepared for them. Or we have what we call a tour mode. Tour mode is where it's going to show me all the different little markers on where panoramas were taken from. So I just click that and it's going to teleport me over to that spot. And it's geolocated throughout the project, so we can see exactly where these were taken from inside the model. So again, I can click any one of these and it's going to teleport me over to that next one. Again, this is a link that you can just email to your clients. So that's our panoramas and QR code feature. Again, probably my favorite features. So the next way we have to get your designs over to your clients is through what we call this video editor. So this video editor here, this is where you can do video walkthroughs. So let's say I want to start from right here. All I have to do is hit the plus button down on the bottom right, and then start navigating over to where I want to go and clicking keyframes, again, wherever I want to go. Hit the plus button again, and let's say I want to be out here and hit the plus button again. Now to preview that, all I have to do is hit the preview button, and I'm going to get a nice preview of what my animation is going to look like. At any time I want, I can click inside these keyframes and adjust the camera position and click update to really fine tune how I want that shot to look. If we're working in a team environment, all we have to keep everybody on the same video path, all I have to do is click the three lines and click save the path to file. So if David and I work on a project together, I could send this path to him. He could load that path up and he could work out the same video path as me, make changes like, hey, I did something a lot cooler than you, save it, send it back to me. I can render it. And if we're ready to export our animations, all we have to do is hit the export button down the bottom right. And then from here is where we get the options to do the different settings for what we want our final resolution to be. And we'll get a nice MP4 file that we can send to our clients. All right. The last option that we have to get our designs over to our clients is what we call these standalone files here. So this standalone file, this exe file, it's going to package everything up that's inside the Enscape window, and it's going to create an executable file for us. So basically think like a playable game. You send that to the client. They don't need a license of Enscape or Revit. All they have to do is have a system that meets our system requirements. They'll be able to double click this file. Enscape's going to launch. They can fully navigate through it. They can change the time of the day. They can go into virtual reality with it if they have a VR headset hooked up. The web standalone is pretty much the same thing, minus the VR. You'll be able to generate a link that you just send to your clients, and they can navigate through their 3D model through a web version. Again, very, very powerful way to be able to get your designs over to your clients. All right, so that's all of the features that we have to get our designs over to our clients. One other cool feature, this is a Revit specific one since we are in Revit, we have this render image in a document button. This is where if I click that button, it's going to start creating a rendering for me. And it's going to put that over inside of my project browser. So now I have the rendering tab over here. So now I have some renderings that I can use for title sheets or even set as my starting view. Again, that's where this nice link really comes into play of being a direct plugin to Revit. All right, now let's talk about the fun stuff, VR. I'm going to switch over to my other machine where I have my VR headset hooked up and start sharing my screen there. But basically, Enscape is just a one-click VR solution. All I'm going to do is click this VR button, and then you'll be able to see what's through my head. So let me real quick jump over there. So let me stop sharing. All right, share screen. There we go. All right, I can see it's being shared over on my other screen.
Looks good.
Sweet. So now again, all I'm going to do is hit this VR button right up here. So now let me go into the virtual world now. So you guys are seeing what I'm seeing through, or going to be seeing through my head. So can everybody see that? There's my headset here. All right. There we go. So how I navigate around inside of VR is I'm going to have my right hand and I'm just going to point and click wherever I want it to go, and I can be teleported over there. There is no greater way to show your clients their designs than actually have them physically be in a one-to-one space of where their space is going to be. And this is how I can navigate around. Let me go here. Again, so I can really get the true one-to-one scale sense of actually what it's going to look like if I'm inside my kitchen here. Here, let's do something cool here. I can pull up a chair. So now I can actually get, and it auto knows if you're sitting down too. So now I can really get a sense of what it's going to look like if I'm sitting at my kitchen table here. I can do some things as well inside of here, like go to complete white mode, again, for early stage designs. If I haven't picked out materials yet or anything like that. I can also produce renderings from inside of here. So I can take a screenshot. It's going to save a view. I can, again, render an image. I can see exactly if I want to take a rendering from here again, so I know there's something going on. I can also use this map to start teleporting me to different areas. But so this is where if I had somebody controlling my screen, if I tell the designer, hey, I want to see some different chairs inside of here, they can make those changes inside of Revit and they would update for me in real time inside of my headset at the same time. So again, extremely powerful way to be able to tap into your client's emotions, because a lot of times they can't get a true sense of what the space is going to look like from just a still rendering. So if you can actually, digitally say, hey, here's a one-to-one scale sense of what your space is going to look like, and make changes to it anytime they come up, that's something extremely powerful that they've never seen before, or things that they can't think of may have came up. Let's go there. I can also do some things like change the time of the day. So here we go as well. And again, this is just a Revit sample project, so you can see I didn't do anything to further enhance this. This is just out of the box Enscape, so you can see how good it's going to look.